What is djent? Its status as a genre is often contested, but it has become such a prominent sound in modern metal music that it has become much harder to contest. Unless, of course, you just think genres are ridiculous in general. The name djent comes from the sound that the guitars have in this genre. Djent, 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 djent. Meshuggah is the definitive djent band. Djent continues what groove metal was doing with the syncopation and dials it up a notch. If we look at the metal family tree, thrash metal would be the grandfather with pretty straightforward riffs. Then groove metal is the father, its syncopated riffs throwing a kink into the sound. Finally, djent would be the son, its funky polyrhythms being a steep departure from thrash, and it even makes groove metal sound normal by comparison. This is entropy in motion. Now, none of Meshuggah's imitators have ever come close to sounding just like them. They all have some metalcore influence, in one way or another. I would be tempted to call these bands djentcore, but the problem with this is it is literally all the bands in the genre, like 95% of them at least, and the other 5% are instrumental prog bands, like Animals as Leaders, who also sound very little like Meshuggah. One of the closest things I could find to another band that sounds like Meshuggah is the band Xerath. They have a cool symphonic djent type sound. It's pretty unique. Now on to djentcore, the majority of djent bands. These bands take that Meshuggah-esque djent riff and blend it with melodic metalcore and/or deathcore. Examples of this sound are Born of Osiris, After the Burial, and Veil of Maya. Now as for the theme of djent, it is a distortion, yet continuation, of the genres that preceded it. Thrash metal has a rebellious, anti-authoritarian spirit to it. Groove metal takes this down to a personal level. It's now you versus the world.
What is the bad deal? Revolution is the deal.
So what's the next step? Well, if it's you fighting the world, there are only two possible outcomes. Either the world wins or you do. Either way, the result will be transporting you to a new world. I know this is wild, but bear with me. I am going somewhere with this. Some say when you die, you experience a DMT type trip. Upon hearing this, I cannot help but think of the cover to the album Nothing by Meshuggah, as well as their track Closed Eye Visuals, which describes a similar phenomenon. And speaking of transporting to a new world, let's look at the names of some djent bands. After the Burial is the most obvious. It doesn't get more on the nose for evoking a feeling of the afterlife. But that's just one example, not too convincing. How about Born of Osiris? Who is Osiris? Osiris is only the god of the dead. Osiris is a mythological figure who himself was reborn through death. Finally, and I think this seals the deal, Veil of Maya. The Veil of Maya is the veil of materialism. It is an illusion that shrouds everything around us, for this world may just be a deception, while the true world exists beyond the scope of our understanding. Now maybe it's just a coincidence that all these similar bands similarly reference the afterlife, but I think not.
Coincidence? I think not!
I think djent, or djent, or whatever you want to call it, represents the border between this life and the next. It represents the edge between this world and the next. The periphery, if you will.
Oh.
Periphery is a band that mixes djent, melodic metalcore, and prog metal. They are one of the most well-known of the genre, and their name is also a pun, as it can also be said pure riffery. And riffs are something that djent is indeed known for. One more band I'll touch on is Spiritbox. Their name is Spiritbox. If that isn't convincing enough, they are named after a paranormal device intended to contact ghosts. They mix djent, metalcore, and post-metal.
This could all be yours. Feel the weight of a motor. It could all be yours. I have the power of a dying sun.
Who knew even a meme about a weird guitar noise could venture into transcending our material world? May we all transcend the material. Our occulturation continues as we ask ourselves, what's in a meme?